Hello. Good evening, everyone.
Hello,
Good evening.
good evening.
How are you all doing today?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing perfectly fine. Thank you so much for asking. May I have the other students respond to me as well? Okay, never mind. I'd also request all of you to please turn on your cameras so that I can look at you and we can interact with each other because I want this session to be a fun session that you learn something and you gain something from here. Hi, your name is?
Aryan.
Your name is?
Aryan.
Ari. Okay, how are you doing, Ari?
I'm good.
Okay, what do you expect to learn from today's session?
Um, Probably something about English and how to get better.
Okay, great. So for today's class, we have a very, I would say, foundational topic for today's class, which is subject-verb agreement. All right. So we'll be discussing that because a lot of people I've seen and I've met in real life, they face a lot of problem with subject-verb agreement. Okay. And the rest of the students who've not been responding or turning on their camera, I'd like to inform that as well, that we'll be doing subject-verb agreement. We'll be learning a lot. And I hope you stay focused in the class because these are some of the very major rules that are used while forming sentences. Okay? All right. So let me share my screen with you all, and then we can begin. Okay. Let us swiftly go back to the very beginning. Okay, so the topic is subject-verb agreement. Now, before we begin, I'd like to know if anyone already knows the topic, whether they know just the beginning part of the topic or whether they know it like fully, complete knowledge. I'd like to know that. No? Okay, fine. That's a bit confusing because you cannot frame sentences in English if you do not have knowledge of subject-verb agreement. That is quite confusing for me, but never mind. We'll just move on and we'll start learning. So the topic, as you know, is subject-verb agreement. It is also called subject-verb concord. So whatever you hear, it will be one and the same thing. Let us begin. First of all, let's talk about what is subject in English language. Now, English language, as we know, is a very respected language throughout. It is venerated throughout the world and everyone is all crazy about learning it, right? So the first thing that we make anyone learn in English language is what is a subject. A subject could be a person or it could be a thing. It could be anything. Basically, the subject is the doer in your sentence. That is all the subject is. By a doer, I mean someone who is performing that action. Performing that action. Okay, let's try to create a sentence right now. The government is trying to control the populace. Could anyone tell me what is the subject in this sentence?
To the government.
Exactly. It is the government. As you can see on the slide here, just give me a moment. As you can see on the slide here, we have singular objects, we have plural objects, and we have some other objects, right? All of them can be subjects in a sentence, right? The person, the girl that you can see can be a subject in the sentence. Okay, let's go back to the same slide. Now, in this part, yes, we were on slide number 2. So we'll begin from here again. So in this part, we were discussing what a subject is. Someone who is performing the action. Okay, done. Easy enough to understand. Then second point, what is a verb? A verb is nothing in English but the action. Now, as human beings, I believe all of us are aware that there are multiple actions in a day, right? Everything occurs in front of us and everything takes place around us. And most of the time, we are the ones doing those actions. So any action that you're doing, you're sitting in the class right now, that's an action. I'm speaking right now, that's an action. I could be dancing tomorrow, that is an action. Or I could be learning more, right? I could be reading Charles Dickens tomorrow. That could be an action as well. Any action, any work that you're doing in English is considered a verb. Okay. Okay. Now that we know what a subject is and what a verb is, now we will discuss what is the agreement that makes them both come together and intermingle in such wonderful ways that it creates a beautiful tapestry of this beautiful English language, right? Okay. Now, if the subject is the government, and if the government is trying to control the populace, in simple terms, control the population, the verb is here, the subject is here. What do we need? As the tense rules dictate, we require a helping verb to join the subject and the main verb, right? The subject-verb agreement decides which helping verb or which form of the main verb you're going to be using with that subject. That is all subject-verb agreement. Let us move on. We'll come back to the examples on the first slide a bit later. Let's say we have a singular subject, okay? The singular subject here is a very cute dog. Okay, do you people own dogs? Any pet? No? Okay, fine. I own a cat and I'm pretty happy with my cat. So I thought that people are in love with dogs these days, so maybe they'd like the dog, and especially young kids like yourselves. Okay, so let's say our subject is the dog. Okay, what is the dog doing right now? What is the action?
Is he like moving?
Anyone?
Moving.
What?
Is he moving?
He's moving. Okay, but apart from moving, is he doing something else?
Nodding.
Nodding. You'd call that action nodding though? Is it not like this?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, kind of. Okay, we're a bit confused. That's completely okay. I believe he's staring at other things and he's thinking, and maybe he's confused even. And also, maybe he's feeling a bit happy and excited, right? He could be in a very jocular mood right now. So we could say the dog is, as you said, moving. So I'll keep that word, moving. Now, my question is, why did we choose is only? Why did we not go for are? Why did we not go for maybe am? Can anyone answer out of all the students in the class? I'd be happy if you people interact with me a bit so that I would also be able to gauge your level of knowledge. Okay, fine. Never mind. I'll help you guys here again. We are choosing is because the subject is singular and it will require a singular verb to provide the actual meaning as per the prescriptionists of the English language said. Okay. Now, in this case, any singular object or any singular subject in this sentence will either take is or will take has or will take was or will take does. Any singular subject, any sentence that you're making and it has a single person or maybe a single thing doing something, performing an action. Your shortcut to understanding that particular rule is that the verb with it will take an S at the end. As easy as that. It will take an S at the end. And in your mind, you could make a shortcut that this S symbolizes the singularity of the subject. Easy enough. Isn't that a great shortcut? Let's do it again. Singular object or singular subject, whatever you would like to call it in this case, will take a singular verb. And how do we identify a singular verb? We just see whether it has an S at the end. And our work is done and complete. And this obviously mostly the case in simple present tense, or present tense overall, where we are using a lot of different verbs. When we move on to past tense or future tense, we only have a few helping verbs with us. Okay? Yes, any questions? Any doubts? No. Let's move on. Easy enough to understand, I believe. If not, I can take questions at the end of the session. When we come to plural objects, any helping verb that does not have an S at the end will have that plural, any plural verb that does not have an S at the end will go with the plural object or plural subject in this case. Okay, so are, were, right? What more do we have? We have, obviously, and we have do. And we're done. So these helping verbs with plural subjects and these helping verbs with singular subject. And that is all we need to know in order to have the grasp on subject-verb agreement or subject-verb concord. Now let's go back to the sentences that we had on the first slide. Let's look at the sentences and we'll find our rule accommodating all of our requirements right now. They were going to the party. Who was going to the party? Well, they. And they is plural, so it will take were. However, if our subject is singular, she is singular. So if she is singular and she ends up doing something, then the verb that she will take with itself will be is, which has an S at the end. So it follows our shortcut rule. And then we have my mother. I am tremendously sure right now that all of us have one mother. Okay. And this one mother, who is singular, will definitely take a verb that has an S at the end. So the verb mother goes to the office every day. Okay, goes. And then we have the government. As we've already discussed, the government is a singular subject and it will take the verb S. Clear? So it takes has. However, if we turn the tables on the subjects, if they were to be plural, if had it not been she, had it been girls, then the verb would have been are. Had it been not my mother, had it been general mothers, okay, we're talking about all the mothers of the world, then the verb with mothers would have been go. Mothers go. The verb will not take an S. And if we had been talking about all the governments of the entire world, okay, then the verb would be have. The governments have signed the accord. I believe this much would be entirely clear to you. If it is not, I'd like you to shoot your questions. Ask away. If you have any doubts. No? No doubts whatsoever? Okay, that's completely fine. No issues. Let us move on. We have the same thing that I was talking about. We have the subject, and it is the thing that you're talking about. We have the verbs, and these are our main verbs. And then we have our helping verbs. And our helping verbs I've written already, and we have discussed in detail before this slide. They are has, have, is, am, are, was, were, do, does. Okay? And these are the verbs that we take care of when we are forming a sentence and we are framing that sentence particularly according to the rules of subject-verb concord. All right? Okay. Now, I'd also like to talk about AE1 Learning because I am talking to you through that platform. I would like to inform you that I'm releasing the English free mock tests for GCSE curriculum, and they will follow AQA, OCR, and EdExcel boards. Okay. We also have paid mocks available, and they are provided with solution to you people. So if you're looking for any sort of preparation related to your English curriculum, whether it's literature or grammar, or it's any of these boards, you can contact us. Okay, I'll give you the WhatsApp number and all the details. They're definitely available on the last slide. So we'll discuss that at the end of the class. Thank you for waiting patiently. This is our schedule for the mock tests. You can take care of it. And the link for the mock test is also provided in the chat box. You can copy it from there. And these are all paid mock tests. All right. And you can also WhatsApp on this number. Please take care of this number. We also have more information at the end of the slide. So don't worry, you're not going to miss out on anything. Now we have again some more objects here, but these objects, as you can see, are subjects, if you'd like to call them. I have now tried to provide you the exceptions to this rule. See, the rule that we just discussed, subject verb concord, definitely relates to most of the sentences in English language. For example, whatever sentence I'm speaking would more or less follow the same exact formula that I just told you. However, as everything in the world, there are exceptions to this rule. And these exceptions, obviously, there are many exceptions, but we'll talk about only a few today, okay? Because we also have a time limit. So let us discuss a bit about the exceptions. When you write many or, this is one of the major ones that people get confused with. Many or. See, the determiner many or determiner many, as many people call it, is considered plural in English language, right? But when you add a with it, it becomes singular. So if it becomes singular, then the subject that you will add with it, for example, if I'm saying many a planet, if I say many a planet, then why won't I write planets? Why would I write planet? I'm writing planet because I need to make it agree with the article A. And A stands for only one, as we all know it. Even though it's a general indefinite article, it still stands for only one, right? So the planet needs to be singular, even though we have many here. And the verb that it is going to take will be singular as well, as I've already written on the slide, and you can see that detail, okay? Now I want to go back to the other slide. Here, just give me a moment. I'd like to, yes, this is the slide. Look at the rules that I've written here. I've written exceptions: heels, trousers, pants, tweezers, many a man, some of the coordinating conjunctions. They all form some of the exceptions to this rule, okay? But I would only be able to cover this in detail in the other session that we'll be doing pretty soon. So don't worry, we'll learn the exceptions as well. Let us move on with our class. Yes, so these are some of the sentences that I'd like to discuss with you. They have exceptions as well and normal sentences as well. It is the scenic beauty that attracts us. Scenic beauty is singular. It is singular. Attracts takes an S, and is takes an S. So as you can see, when we have a singular subject, or when we're talking about something singular, everything around it, by everything I mean the verbs around it, they tend to take an S at the end. And that's the shortcut that we'll discuss today. That verb having an S at the end generally tends to come with, obviously, singular subject. Then let's move on. Joshua, okay? Joshua, along with his family, is visiting Switzerland. Could anyone tell me the rule behind this sentence? Because this is an exception. So if Joshua is going along with his family, so there are definitely more people than one. Then why are we using a singular verb with such a large quantity of people? Anyone would like to answer? Okay. If you're uncomfortable with speaking, then you can also reply to me in the chat box. I won't really mind that. Okay, that's completely all right. No issues. Let me discuss that. So we have Joshua. Okay. Now Joshua is going to Switzerland. And when he's moving to Switzerland, he's going with his family. But what matters here is the verb along. What matters, sorry, not the verb, sorry. What matters here is the word along. Now, when we write along, we mean that the family is going along with Joshua. So the actual one doing the work is Joshua, isn't he? So if Joshua is doing all the work, then why would we give more weightage to the family? We would obviously use only the singular verb. We'd be using is. Or if we're making any other sentence, we're framing any other sentence, we'd be using have. Sorry, has. Let me erase this so that no confusion arises. Yes. So we'll be writing has or other singular verbs like does, okay, like was. All of them would take an S at the end. However, let's say we're not using any helping verb. We're framing a sentence in indefinite present tense. So in that case, we'd be using any verb and S with it. We'd be using a verb and S with it. Okay, so that is it. And now we have one more exception. Okay, this exception is the poet and singer. Now, when we say the poet and the singer, and if I say the poet and singer, do we know the difference between these two phrases? This one refers to two subjects, which means in this case, two different people. And this one refers to one subject. One subject, one person who has these two wonderful talents, being a poet and a singer as well. Okay, so if one person, one subject, it will take a singular verb. If two subjects, two different people, the subjects will take a plural verb. And that's all about the exceptions. We have obviously not covered many of the exceptions, but I've tried to cover the most difficult ones and the most important ones so that it becomes easier for you. Okay, let's completely delve in deep into this particular sentence. The poet and singer Anderson Erebor is quite famous for his energetic performance, right? Give me a moment. For his energetic speeches, it says, which makes complete sense. If he's a poet and a singer, he would definitely be energetic and he'd have a lot of speeches to make. So it's the same thing. I believe the first sentence was a normal sentence which followed the normal rules, and then the next ones were a part of the exceptions, and we've discussed them in detail as well. Now, If you have any doubts, you can let me know and I'd be happy to answer. From my side, we're done with the session and I would thank all of you for joining us today. But as I've already discussed with you in detail, okay, I have some messages in the chat box. Let me, both are different persons. Hi, miss, how can I join your regular session? You can join my regular session. You can email us or WhatsApp us on this number, as I've already told you here. So you can WhatsApp on this number or you can email us. Okay, we're a registered company and we provide tutors to students. I think someone is entering just now. Right. And we have qualified tutors. Other than me also, we have many tutors who are providing professional guidance to the students of KS1, KS2, and KS3 from GCSE curriculum, right? And we have math, science, and English and provide thorough knowledge. And we also provide a lot of mock tests. As I already told you, this is the last slide, which will be providing you a lot of information. But before ending the session, I'd like to go back to that particular slide that talked about our mock sessions, our mock tests. Yeah, here. We have our paid mock tests for GCSE and they have pertain to boards like AQA, OCR, and Excel. And on 8th of December, we have GCSE chemistry mock. On 15th of December, we have GCSE biology mock. I'm sorry for the spelling error here. 22nd December, we have GCSE physics, and 29th December, we have GCSE English mock tests. Okay. I'm so sorry for the slip of tongue. Any other queries, I'd be happy to answer. Anything related to subject verb concord, I'd be happy to answer as well. Yes. As you can see in the chat, the replies are there as well. Okay. I hope all of you enjoyed the session today, and I hope most of you at least learned a lot today. This is one of the foundational concepts of English language. If you are to learn it, if you are to speak it, if you are to be fluent in it, you need to be aware of this rule because this forms almost the backbone of English language. If you get through subject-verb agreement, most of your writing, most of your speaking would be correct. And once it gets ingrained in your head, in your brain, you'd be okay writing a lot of stories, novels, maybe even poetry, and you might like to explore the different genres and the different ways of writing short stories, novels, and poetry these days. So we can discuss that in my regular classes. I'd love for you to join, and I'd love to teach you more. I am signing off. If okay, I'm looking at the chat box. If there are still any doubts that persist in your mind, you can let me know. Yes, thank you all very much for joining me today. It was very fun teaching you all, and it was very fun interacting with some of you as well. I'd love all of you to interact with me in our next session, next free as well as paid session. Okay, I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.